Israeli warplanes pounded southern Gaza, including Rafah. That's where the border crossing with Egypt is. These are areas the Israeli military actually told Palestinians to evacuate to. So what is the latest on the fighting this morning? Is anywhere in Gaza safe right now?
Well, Joe, I think the simple answer to that is no. There's a lot of problems and a lot of violence right now. As you talk about, Israeli Defense Forces through aerial strikes really attacked the region last night into the early morning. And what they continue to say is that they are going to root out Hamas regardless of where they may be, and that they are going to find Hamas and rid Gaza of Hamas. When pressed on the issue of innocent civilians, especially as you speak about piling up thousands at the border, the Rafah border, what they say is that it is Hamas that put these civilians in harm's way, and their job to keep them out of harm's way, several times suggesting that Hamas is using those that are in the area as shields and to hide some of their weapons and other things that are going on there. And so they say that they're going to continue the attack until they are told otherwise from diplomats, and that they are going to intensify that attack eventually, Joe, as we've been talking about for days, perhaps moving in on the ground.
Jay, we know UN agencies and rights groups are highlighting the humanitarian disaster that is unfolding in Gaza. We've seen aid trucks waiting at that Rafah crossing. They're still not being allowed in. So what's going on with that part of this story? Has any progress been made there?
Yeah, waiting for days. You're absolutely right. Much needed food, water, medicine, fuel. And it's really finger pointing that's been going on. The Egyptians saying that they're ready. The Israelis at times saying they are ready. Neither side really making this happen. And then you've got Hamas in that mix as well. Let's listen to what the UNRWA is saying about the desperate need there.
What we are calling for at UNRWA is for the siege to be lifted, the siege on the Gaza Strip to be lifted. No supplies have come into Gaza since the 7th of October. Nothing. No fuel, no food, no water, no other types of assistance. We're talking about 2 million people in the Gaza Strip who do not have water, and water is running out, and water is life, and life is running out of Gaza.
Yeah, look, 2 days ago, we were told there was going to be a ceasefire. Obviously, that never happened. The negotiations are continuing on the diplomatic side with Secretary Blinken. I think it's important to point out, though, Joe, as the president makes his trip here tomorrow, he says that a stated mission is not only to show his support and the American support for Israel, but to have humanitarian aid move into those who are in desperate need. That's going to be a tough sell on both sides, but something, again, that the White House has said he is carrying that message as he comes to Israel.
Jay, I also want to ask you about the hostages. This week, the Israeli military is saying it believes there are 199 hostages being held by Hamas. Now Hamas has actually released its first video of one of the captives, a French-Israeli woman. What are we learning about this?
21-year-old whose parents say that she is resilient, that they obviously were thrilled to see that she was alive, did not know whether she was alive or not, and say that they believe that resilience that she has will lead to her eventually reuniting with her family. Very difficult time for so many families who are either unaware or do know that their family members are being held hostage. There's been a lot of pressure from within Israel, from certain groups, to have the army go in and enact some rescues. What we've been told, and this is the same from the U.S. side, where there's pressure and a number of U.S. citizens who may be being held hostage. Frankly, they don't know where they all are. They are in underground tunnels. They are being hidden in certain other areas. And so that's just the basic bottom line as to why there's been so little movement right now. The suggestion is there may be some type of trade in the works, though there's been nothing said publicly or diplomatically about that, Joe. And right now, that frustration, along with everything else that's going on in the region, obviously building, and especially with those desperate families. You feel for those families who are struggling with that.
We certainly do. All right, Jay Gray reporting from Israel. Jay, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.